How's it going, you sexy beasts? Just the other day, I released a video discussing some new content in the form of the ESF update. Turns out, later that day, SOE actually released these new weapons onto the public test server, so I apologize for my lack of information on that particular video, so hopefully this one will fill in those gaps. Just a heads up though, this video is only going to cover the weapons and the new engagement radar in both mechanics and numbers, as well as the newly revamped external fuel tanks. I'm not going to go into detail with the new minimap lock-on tracking or anything of that sort. Also, I'd like to point out that I am no flight expert. Please keep that in mind. So, what exactly are these new weapons? Well, we're going to be getting two new wing-mounted munitions, as well as a new nose cannon. These new wing mounts include the Hornet Missiles and the Coyote Missiles. The new nose cannon is the Locust for the Terran Republic, the Kestrel for the New Conglomerate, and the Anteres for the Vanu Sovereignty. So let's go ahead and talk about this new nose cannon. These are designed with newer players in mind. Their rate of fire is slightly lower in comparison to their stock variants, but offers almost double the ammunition per magazine. Despite a lower overall rate of fire, the damage model is exactly the same in comparison to the stock nose gun counterparts. The New Conglomerate's Kestrel fires at 600 rounds per minute, holds 95 rounds in the magazine, and another 655 in the reserve. The Vanu Sovereignty's Anteres fires at 652 rounds per minute, comparable to the Sauron's 706, but holds 110 rounds in the magazine with 770 in the reserve, in comparison to the Sauron's 60 round magazine and 720 reserve. Lastly, the Terran Republic's Locust fires at 698 rounds per minute, in comparison to the Needler's 750, has 150 rounds in the magazine and another 900 in the reserve, with the Needler at 70 rounds per magazine and 840 in the reserve. All three of these new nose cannons feature the same damage model as their default faction nose guns, but have their projectiles move 100 meters per second slower, which matches the same velocity of each faction's rotary. These are all strong, all-around weapons to help both newer and veteran players alike to hold their ground with the immense ammunition capacity these hold. Our next lovely weapon in the list are the Coyote Missiles. These are designed to better handle dogfighting against moving or still targets. Each missile deals 275 damage on impact, with another 334 damage in a 1 meter radius, which essentially means each missile will deal 609 total damage when hitting a target. These come with a magazine size of 2 missiles, have a 3-second reload, and only carry 30 additional missiles in the reserve. The way these missiles actually work, though, are pretty neat. If you're aware of the LAW or the Staff Shell from Battlefield 4, you'll feel right at home with these. Built with an intelligent IFF device in the warhead itself, the Coyote missile will auto-magically lock onto a hostile aircraft once the missile has moved in range of said aircraft. Meaning, you won't have to sit and hold a lock onto a target while flying. As long as you shoot near your target or lead the missile well enough, then the Coyote warhead will do the rest for you and hit the target. As I'm sure you can see, I've been able to hit this galaxy pretty consistently, even though I'm aiming far above it. Sadly, these missiles have zero lock-on effect on ground vehicles, but can still be dumbfired onto vehicles unfortunate enough to get in your way. The last wing mount we've been given are the Hornet Missiles. These are my favorite, hands down. They come in magazine sizes of 4, have another 40 in the reserve, and have a direct impact damage of 1,500 and another 550 explosive damage. Yes, you heard that right. A staggering 2,050 damage from a single missile, and there's 4 per load. If you're able to hammer your target with all 4 of these bad boys, then you're looking at a potential of 8,200 damage to your target. 2 salvos, and you've got yourself a tank kill regardless of which armor you're hitting. The Hornets reload in 5 seconds flat, but also have an extremely long resupply time, making your ESF take longer to get back into the firefight once you run out of munitions. But how you actually fire these, though, is a completely different story. These missiles perform exactly the same as the engineer's anti-vehicle mana turret and follow the pilot's crosshairs. Other words, a tow missile. That means these are going to be absolutely badass at sniping out enemy armor from a distance, or just pelting liberators or galaxies that are standing far too still in the middle of the air. Even though these missiles deal 2,050 damage per hit, the splash damage is only 550 damage, meaning you'll need a direct impact on any infantry in order to one-shot them. If they're wearing flak, then you're just better off hopping out of your ESF and knifing them than using these missiles to take them out. If you are an avid user of the Tomcat or Photon Pod air-to-air lock-on missiles, prepare to get your day crapped on. These existing lock-ons are going to be acting the same as the current striker mechanic, meaning once you attain a lock, you must continually retain that lock while the missile is in flight. If you lose track of your target or simply move your crosshair from the hole of your desired target, then the missile will lose its lock and fizzle, causing absolutely zero damage. This is a rather interesting change since air-to-air missiles are rather useless right now anyway, and rarely anyone uses them. To add on to the humiliation, the maximum range at which these missiles travel has been reduced by about 200 meters and are now limited in how hard of a turn they can take in order to chase a target. So in other words, these missiles are going to be utter trash if going up against a pilot who has the slightest idea of their surroundings, as it will be even more simple to break a lock instead of popping the flares. So enough of the depressing news. Our new external afterburner fuel tank change is a rather interesting one. If you are an avid fuel tank user, then you're more than likely going to be excited about this change despite having to dump a few certs into it. Currently, external fuel tanks only increase the capacity of your external afterburner fuel tank capacity by 80%. Once the new external fuel tanks have had their certification maxed out, then you'll be gaining that 80% bonus capacity as well as a 70% bonus to the replenishment rate. This change makes the fuel tanks a much more competitive choice for the wing mount, as the bonus regeneration will help out in nearly every situation. Keep in mind that overall afterburner fuel regeneration will be reduced by 15%, so you'll only be seeing an increase of about 50% bonus in the regeneration rate of afterburner fuel usage, which is still a whole mega crap ton. Last bit of awesomeness is the engagement radar. The certification fits into the utility slot of the ESF and will project enemy aircraft onto the heads-up display for the pilot using it. Any enemies within a maximum of 700 meter radial will be displayed, and even have an icon which will clamp to the edges of the screen to indicate in which direction the hostile aircraft has maneuvered. Although this certification was designed with newer players in mind, it still fits into the utility slot, which is a direct competition to the decoy flares, which is an absolute must for nearly any pilot, especially fresh meat in the sky. So there you have it, you sexy beasts, some insight on the ESF update in all of its glory. What are your thoughts on the new weapons available? In all honesty, I think running a rotary cannon to deal with air, and then the Hornet Missiles to wreck ground targets is going to be my preferred setup. I find it much more enjoyable to take out a big-ass prowler than farm a whole bunch of infantry who stand absolutely no chance against my fighter. Anyway, let me know in the comment section below of your favorite addition in the ESF update. If you found this video informative or entertaining in any way, please give it a mega super awesome big ass thumbs up. It helps a ton. If you guys would like to see more videos like these, then go ahead and subscribe. It's free for takeoff.